Well, Lucy, thank you so much for joining us on the Sports Editor. It's really good to chat about your career and your involvement with the Cheetahs and an exciting team. So thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the show. It's I've been actually looking forward to actually speaking to you. And finally, we met. We meet. I can see your face. So thank you, man.
That's good. But before we get into that, I just need to know seriously, how's things looking with Bloemfontein Celtic?
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. Check Bloem put the Celtics did actually very well now with the during the lockdown, eh?
Oh, good.
They played in the final, one of the cup in the final, I think 2 weeks back. They lost to Mamelodi Sundowns, but they looked well. They did well in the season. I think they're lying somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the top nine, somewhere there.
Sure, that's good.
So so yeah, so they doing well. They look like they're motivated and going forward.
Excellent. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're keeping tabs on them. It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Melusi, yeah, talk a bit about your background, and you studied sports science. Specifically, I think it was movement. Why? What's sort of the idea behind it? Did you just find it interesting?
Yeah, no. To be honest, is obviously after matric, I went from Mpumalanga to Potchefstroom. I got a bursary at the University of Northwest. And when I got there and I found myself, the rugby players, you get enrolled in somehow, and I wanted to do IT, and I love games. The things I love games, and I thought that relates to IT. When I got there, I realized, nah, this is not actually the same thing. So then I got myself into a program, sports science program in Potchefstroom. So yeah, so I started then, and most of the rugby guys were doing that. So we got into that line, and we did that sports science. To be honest with you, I was a guy that didn't really like biology at school. I was not a biology person, and I found myself in a class, and I had to pass anatomy to get my degree, and I was like, what? And so, but I'm the kind of guy that if I need to do something, I need to do it, and I do it. And so I sat, and I had to pass. Yeah, so that's actually how I got myself involved with actually, it's called human movements. I
Okay.
actually did human movement and psychology. That's actually the degree, is the human movement psychology. And then after that, you then go further into your honors in sports science.
Sure.
So yeah, so then I did then my honors in something different, which is actually, for me, I was actually shocked because I didn't do my sports science as the honors. I did public management and governance. So my degree is human movement and psychology, and my honors is actually public management and governance, which is something different. Then I did project management also with those kind of things. So it was not really in the line of of my degree that I did. And the profs could not believe it. Like, listen, but how are you going to do your honors if you don't have the background of the degree? I
Yeah.
said, listen, I'll be in class. I got to class, and the first time in class, I had to learn about the acts, that I didn't know. For example, there's a legal strike, for example. I sat there, I thought, what? Yeah, but I had to pass it. So end of the year, I got my honors in public management and governance. I was like, yo, but where am I going to use this?
Yeah.
Because now this is into other things. It vents into other things, and yeah. So that's actually the story there. So yeah, I mean, I just got myself into these things, and as I go through, and I find myself in being guided and into the rugby world there.
No, excellent. That's good to hear. You're a busy man, very busy man, it seems. Because if I'm not mistaken, you're also a talent scout at your time there, the Northwest. Um, that's something is that something you've always been passionate about, scouting talent?
Yeah, the thing is, obviously, I got myself into the rugby, and then with Andre and them, and the guys guys come in, and you find yourself in that situation. And I thought, okay, when Andre left, and I got to do it, and I can work with people. I think, I think everybody, you need to find your destiny, but you need to find why you're here. I think, is teaching and working with people. So I then got myself into a talent scout, and I started scouting in Poach, and I think there's quite good guys that a person saw there and brought through the system, and the guys did extremely well. So I thought, okay, maybe this is something I can really do, and started paying attention to the small details. And I think when you do scouting, it's also important that you take I think you get into the people's people's world. You need to understand where they come from. It's not about just getting the boy. You need to
100%.
engage with the parents, where they come from, because what you see maybe in the school and what you see at home is two different things. So I think it's just, when you're caring about people. If you care about people, I think you can do that. Obviously, you need to see what the guys do. So obviously, there's certain guidelines that guide you towards, guys that like Elrich Low, guys like James Henry Mullens, the list is endless. So you get to spot something, but also they're human. You get to also know the other side also of the person. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's for me the important thing, I think, regarding scouting. Yeah.
It's a full-time job. It's really looking at so many different aspects, like you mentioned, and it keeps you busy. So yeah, you studied, obviously you got a human movement, talent scouts, and now it's all mixed into one. And now you, like you said, you're involved in rugby. And now you also head of the under-21s at the Cheetahs. Is that right?
Yeah. I last year I was the head coach of the under-21s, and the previous year, and so I've done the juniors. So now I'm based with the seniors. So yeah, so I was with the under-21s last year, and I think we did very well. We could really give the guys a go last year. We had good runs. I think we had 7 runs in the season. Massive game here against Province. We were 37 points to 7 behind, and we won the game 45-40 in Bloem. So we had massive games against the Bulls away. So I just think the guys that are sitting here at the juniors, they did really well. So it's been a privilege to be involved with those guys. Your Conan Lefleur, for example, the story on him, same with the scouting. I was sitting at home on a Sunday watching the Gold Cup, and I saw him on Sunday. I said, but this is Conan Lefleur, but why is he, So I called him, and the guy came, fetched him, and I think he's one of the brilliant players. A guy like Conan Lefleur, one of the brilliant players. I rate him very highly. The stuff that he does, attack or defense, the wisdom he's got, understanding the game, but also now you get to the other side. Where does it come from? You need to know him and be able to get into his life. Then you get the best out of him. So because everybody has a story, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Excellent. That's so good, man. So obviously, you've been talking about your studies you're currently involved in, but when you eventually made it into the Cheetahs as the backline coach, that must have been quite a moment of satisfaction, I could say, because you started with under-21s, now you're coaching a top franchise side. You must have been, I'd say, quite proud of yourself, because it's a jolly good achievement.
Yeah, let me be honest with you. I was actually proud, but obviously with my background, with the rugby background, for example, I was, for example, coaching in Poach and coaching the under-19 Leopards, and let's say it happens that you beat the Bulls or Lions or one of those bigger franchises. I could never actually call my mom and say, "Mom, Dad, listen, this is what happened," because they could not really relate what's happening. So obviously with this pro rugby, for me it was just really, to be honest with you, it was just it's a job. You know what I mean? It's a job because I can call mom and say, "Mom, this is what's happened," and it will be just a thing. Oh, well done. Oh, great. It's the understanding behind it. So I grew up knowing that, and my celebrations of whatever is happening will be shorter. Or with other people, I can call Andre and say, "Hey, Mr. Tredu, listen, dude, this is what happened," and he can relate. So yeah, for me it's a job, and I think obviously there's a bigger picture for me. That's what's important. Number one, there's a bigger picture. So wherever I am involved, I'll give my best. It doesn't matter where, which level, whatever. So that's for me not so important. It's just, I need to make a change in whenever system that I'm in. If I'm there, I give my best. Whatever is required from me is I'm gonna give my best. So yeah. So to come back to your question is, yeah, for me it's a great job. It's another job for me that needs to be done, and you need to do it very, very, very well.
No, excellent. You used the word change there, and I find that quite interesting because you obviously want to have that nice wealth of experience, but you've got some young guns that also want to show their capabilities. How do you sort of, and specifically with the backline now, how do you sort of mix those two together to make sure you get the outcome you want as a coach?
So for me, the most important thing, like I said, obviously there was an adjustment from the juniors, where or the juniors you can actually tell the guys what to do all the time, and and they follow some instructions and stuff. So with the seniors, you need to be obviously open-minded. That's me. That's just my opinion. You must be open-minded, and you must engage them in whatever you're trying to do, because at the end of the day, they playing and they feeling what's happening on the field. So you manage more, and obviously you coach during the week and you do this, but you manage more. You manage the different personalities, and obviously the outcome that you want. Obviously you need to put it down there and says the objective of the session, or objective of whatever we're doing. This is what you're trying to achieve, and obviously you need to speak some sense. That's for me the important thing. You need to speak sense.
Yeah.
You need to. For me, I always say there's no right or wrong, especially with the backs. If I can get them to have energy, I can get them to actually still realize why they're still playing rugby. It can be obviously the money is important, but why we're still playing. We don't forget that when we were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, why were we playing rugby? It was fun. So we keep it fun, but we're still very responsible in whatever we're doing. So that's for me, the big thing where you really combine the two. So you've got the young boys coming in, then you've got the senior guys coming in, and we need to blend this. Without the young guys feeling like, okay, but then we just overlooked. You know what I mean? So you still have to treat everyone fairly. That's my thing. So when I do my job, I don't really fall in love with players. I just do my thing, and everybody must be treated fairly. I'm a big believer on equality. For me, it's the big thing. So you draw your sessions, you bring everybody together, and you make it fun. Obviously the senior guys might know more than the junior guys, but the junior guys can also teach the senior guys something, and we need to find a middle line. And that's for me the important thing. So yeah, so I become more innovative with the guys, and you bring a structure, but you let them actually be and actually enjoy what they're doing. And I believe you vent into their lives still. For example, the senior guys, you actually know how many kids do you have, where you come from and stuff like that. The junior guys is more, where you from, where's mom and dad, and those kind of things. And then it becomes easier to coach because now you know the human being. So that's for me the most important thing, to bring those two things together, those two guys together, to find the middle line where we all just are here for the one mission, and we all just becoming better and developing like that. Yeah.
Well, I think you've got the human quite waxed, if I could say. You guys got a really nice vibe going there. It seems like it's excellent. But talking of quality, it must be great having a scrum half in the form of Ruan Pienaar. He's going to deliver the ball to the back line. That guy must obviously bring some jolly good experience and some wise words, I'd say, for the rest of the back line.
Yeah. Ruan is a nice chap. Number one, I think that's the most important thing. He's a nice guy. So obviously with the rugby, very talented. So I think the junior guys and the group staff, they learn a lot. Even like I say, we all human. He's learning from me, I'm learning from him. Which is also very important. You know what I mean? But the guys have played the game, so it's important to also know what they felt at a certain moment, of the game, and so then you bring that into the book, then you combine the two. So it's actually it's actually great to have him around the group, especially there's young guys like Ruben De Haas, the guy from the USA, very, very talented scrum half also, and then you've got Ruan, very, very talented also. So, to just listen what he says, what information he needs from the fly half, how he draws the attention from fly half, how he wants the information, where the junior guy will just do whatever, and where Ruan will actually ask him and say, listen, I don't know what's happening, communicate with me. Where the junior guy will just go on and maybe speak amongst themselves. So that seniority, you then as a coach, you can tell them, listen, but you need to learn from this, because that's what rugby is about. At that level, it's about we need to all just be able to talk to each other and get to a middle line without any conflict. You know what I mean? So he's bringing in amazing experience towards the whole group here.
Excellent. That's so good. And I think it obviously helps with a guy like Ron Pienaar. If we look back at the Pro 14 season that's happened, were you happy with the team progress specifically in that competition this past season?
Yeah, obviously I got here in the middle. I got to be involved with the guys in the middle. They played 3 games. I think after a month I got in. So my introduction to the whole pro rugby, it was actually very interesting. Obviously, conversation for another day, but it was interesting. I took a lot of things there, and so they just won Munster and you get in, boom, in, and you have a video session, So it was for me amazing how actually the wisdom that I actually got to how did I manage that, But like I said, I got in there and I obviously criticized certain things, and but that put the line and we went on, and so it was. The pro rugby and the experienced guys being involved there, it was actually very nice. For me, it was my first trip overseas with the guys, and the experience what's happening overseas. Amazing when you get there. It's rainy. The conditions are different, and I could come across that if we learn to manage the conditions, we'll be very good. So if we manage the conditions, because you get beaten by the conditions. So those experience was for me amazing to say you manage the conditions, be able to adapt to certain the skills, or your trainings, put your skills a lot under pressure because there it's weight. So when it's weight, your skills is put under pressure with a good line speed, and you still need to execute. So if you put the skill under pressure in South Africa, when you go up there, and it's raining and what, you can still use the same, example as you put your skill here, the skill has been put under pressure there, we still need to execute. So yeah, it was actually amazing. It was great for me to just see the different type of, plays that you can have there and in South Africa.
And that's why rugby is such a unique game, because you can play in those conditions and try and manipulate it to benefit you as a team. So it's good. It's so good.
Yes.
If you had to look at a scale from 1 to 10, how satisfied were you with the team's attack this past season, specifically their attack?
You see, regarding the attack, because obviously I'm not the attacking coach at the Cheetahs, so I obviously, help with wherever I can, So I think I'll speak the team self. I think obviously there's a lot of improvement that can happen, Not necessarily I'll just go straight into the attack. I just think we can really improve. Like I said, what is tough there is the conditions that actually beat us, the conditions that we playing against the conditions. If we manage that better, we'll be better.
Because I think one person that's going to make a big difference, and it's Frans Steyn. I think that guy he's an absolute catalyst. He can add a lot to the side in many ways. How important will his role, do you think, will be in the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think his role will be he's got a really huge role to play, and I think he can fulfill that role. Looking at what just him coming in, number one, the size of the guy, on 12 is a big oak on 12, and he's very talented. I've watched him a bit here. Taking a ball, taking a ball from half line, kicking over. Not planned, and he's just a very talent. He's got a lot of talent. So I think that also will have a positive impact on the rest of the guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, for me, the important thing is to bring the two groups together and find a middle line, where he can obviously get to enjoy himself, in a certain structure that you have. And then I think, that will have an impact. I think that's the thing, will have an impact, positive impact on the guys around him. But I must say, it makes a big difference. See, I'm a big believer on, if you talk about the bags, the opponent need to respect your backline players for things to work. So, for example, if Frans is running a short line, there's respect from the opponent that they might sit for the short line, and everything around him can work. So you see that a lot when there's no respect. The guys, they talk about swim. They look and they swim around, defense, attack, and they defend the next guy. Where maybe with France, there's a bit of respect from the opponent. Because if he gets the ball, he's gone, or it will take two guys maybe to manage him. So then everything around it, works. So that is going to have a big influence. Obviously, it betters your attack. It betters your first phase stuff. It betters a lot of things. It betters even your defense, because then your 12 channel is also solid and defended. So I think there's really a huge impact that is going to have in the team.
Absolutely. I definitely wouldn't want him running at my channel. I just let him say, you just carry on. He's a
you make it as if you don't see him and then you bounce off, right?
Yeah. You just carry on. You do your thing.
Yeah.
It's good. But Melusi, what does it feel like actually lifting the Currie Cup? It must be a good feeling.
Yeah, you see, when the guys lifted the Currie Cup, I was obviously coaching the under-21s, and we just lost in the semi-final. But we played a huge role in the whole structure. Because if your juniors, I'm a big believer, if your juniors are doing well, your seniors will do well. I'm a big believer of that. That it's not a top bottom structure. It must be a bottom top structure. So if your juniors are fine, your seniors do well. So for us to lose in the semis, and we train against them, and you feel part of that. Obviously, we're working here, and when they lifted it up, they did very well. I was actually very happy for the guys, because I saw them working hard. That time, obviously, the coach was Coach Franco. Guy did well. We worked very close with him, with our under-21s, helped a lot, learned a lot from him. So it was actually nice to see them, at end of the day, lifting it up. In fact, I think it was the time when they played the Lions in the final, or final. We trained against them here inside, and we were actually running the plays of those guys, and we were like the opponents, training, preparing them for the weekend. So so it was actually wonderful, because from there you become part of the whole thing. You might not be on the field lifting it up, but you're playing a part in it. And to see what the coach is doing and his mindset towards everything, amazing. And I've learned a lot from that structure, and so I was happy for them when they lifted it up. It's good for us, good for everyone at Cheetahs. As a Cheetah family, it was nice, and you become part of that whole experience.
Yeah, because I just want to touch on two things that you mentioned there. And I know this is a bit of a tricky situation at the time, so I don't want to delve into that, but the possibility that you guys, play in the Pro 14, that's almost like a nice draw card for youngsters, to say, I want to get involved in the Cheetahs because, the possibility of playing in Europe. Is that something that you guys try and draw with in terms of your scouting? Like, hey, chance to play a bit of rugby overseas? Is that something that you guys try and encourage the players with, the youngsters, so to say, the under-21s?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it played a huge role in my scouting of the juniors, because I mean, you use that, and you actually telling the truth. You're not lying. So you're not selling the guys dreams. You're telling them, listen, come to the Cheetahs. Might have an opportunity to play overseas. You know what I mean? And I mean, like I said, the players want to experience that. You want to experience the type of kind of games when you're overseas and when you're in South Africa. So the pro rugby, the status, just the pro rugby made a huge difference in the juniors coming this side. Obviously you've got the two varsities that are playing Varsity Cup also, that you also use to get the guys this side, because from the Varsity Cup, they then go into the Cheetahs, and they're looking at, obviously, the bigger picture is obviously they're not always the juniors. The bigger picture is the juniors follow structure, what the seniors are doing, because that's the path going upward,
Yeah.
So it, for me as a coach and as a scout, I obviously had to work with the senior guys to say the kind of guys that I'm going to get to a scout to come to Cheetahs must be potential guys going to the next level, So, and your scouting starts changing. So you then start scouting a guy like, for example, Elrich Low, a guy that comes here at 19 that is ready to go up. So where before you scout a 19-year-old to go through the systems, but then your mindset as a scout started changing, where you have to scout guys that come in for the bigger picture, So that was actually a great thing to throw around and try to get the guys, with still a certain amount of budget here.
No, excellent. That sounds good. And I'm sure it's actually exciting for you in the same breath. So it's brilliant. Just going back to the Currie Cup, do you feel the squad is in a good place to contend for it again this season?
Yeah, to be honest with you, obviously, it's a tricky one with the lockdown, and you sometimes losing of players, coming in of players, and this and that, and this. We knew also in the system. But I'm excited going forward. I'm excited for the Cheetahs to see what the guys can do. There's a couple of nice players here. And the guys are hungry. I think it's been a long time. The guys are hungry to get back on the field. So it's gonna be great to sit and watch and see what they do. So the only thing we can do as coaches, the important thing is you need to prepare well. I always have a thing that I always said from the juniors, that victory loves preparation. So that was my thing. Victory love preparation. I need to control what I can control. So so the rest is out there. They need to go play. But I'm excited to see, with all the unions, the challenges, and where can, what's going to happen? Which guys started training, or did you train smart? Because sometimes that's also another thing. You need to put your sessions, have a smart plan, and because there's not a lot of days, and have a smart program to have your friendly games, before you get your bye, to work on all those things and put them together. So I'm excited to see what's gonna unveil.
Yeah, good, man. They must come up with a date, and they must start playing. I want that competition to kick off again. It's good.
It's almost there.
Almost there. Yeah, good, man. And just some thoughts on a possible rugby championship. South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina. Do you want to get one or two of your thoughts there? Because there's been some negative statements saying South Africa's not ready. The squad, we mustn't attend that. I've just read one or two headlines. Do you think it'll be good for South African rugby? Should the Springboks go and play in Australia in the Rugby Championship? Will it be a good thing, or will it be too much too soon?
No, I think it would be a good thing. I think I see this as, I said lockdown for me, when we started lockdown on COVID, I said there's a positive and a negative, and it depends how you look at it. And I looked at it in a positive way. There's a lot of things that I've done during lockdown with the COVID coming in and affecting a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that I've done differently than before. And so I see that as a positive. Because there's certain things that I would have never done because I was in a comfort zone. But now when this thing came, we went out of a comfort zone. So how I see it is that, I think we need to play. We need to find, like I said, we need to find a strategy. And I think the guys up there are smart enough to get a strategy and to be able to do things smarter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we all know, if you get there, you're not going to be looking at everybody running around the whole time and that running game and that kind of a setup. So it might force you to play almost like a North Hemisphere rugby setup, that kind of a setup. And I think, like I said, the guys up there are very smart, and it's something we all need to adapt and learn from. Because I mean, the next World Cup is not in South Africa. The next World Cup might be Wales again, and then what? So I think it's if you look at it in that way, this is the time to prepare for the next World Cup. So go there and have limited time, but try something else, try something new. And we as a nation of South Africa, we need to know that listen, we didn't have so much time to prepare, no pressure on the guys. So let them go and try something new, because if you have World Cup competition, you're playing so many games in a short space of time. Your recovery is important. How you recover is important. How you plan your session is important. So I think that's just a good example of what you can do up there and what you can get out of that competition in a short space of time. So I think we should go for it. For it, and we need to play. I mean, rugby does a lot of good in South Africa, and sports itself does a lot of good in South Africa, and we need to play. I think it's good for our nation to just watch rugby a bit, and for the players to be competitive. It's very good, you know what I mean? So I think we need to play. We need to get there and just play and just plan differently and play. And we do have the Currie Cup. Obviously, the guys are not going to be, let's say 100% fit, but you can manipulate your game and get great sequences in certain time of the field, and or maybe plan where you want to play on the side of the field. And so I think we can do that. I think we can get with a good plan.
Yeah, there's a lot more positive that can come out of it than negative. The only thing that concerns me is that a lot of South African supporters expect to win, even if it's just like a friendly game. We must win. And sometimes they don't, like you were referring to, maybe the coach is trying something different because he knows this game is important, yes, but he knows there's a bigger competition coming ahead. So he's got to try these things, and he's got to say, okay, system A doesn't work, system B works. It's interesting, but we're such a competitive nation. It's so interesting. We cannot lose. But that's how you learn it. And you've got to take the victory with the loss. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see what happens. Really interesting.
Yeah. And to add on to that, I think also, as we are a nation that obviously loves to win, but everyone has been shaken by the COVID.
Yeah.
So people's mindset has changed a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go into this Currie Cup, everyone is looking. You're not sure what's going to happen. You know what I mean? You'll only get a platform after the 4th, 5th game, or the second round. You get a platform of what's happening. So you can't, for example, just sit and write unions off and say, this guy, whatever, because things are not done like before. So I think mindsets, people have changed. The mindset has become different because we all been affected in different ways. So your mindset is different. How you see things now might be just a bit different. So I think people might be very supportive and very lenient on certain things because to be honest, we all being affected. Either you have a business. If you have a business, you're being affected. You understand that. Listen, don't be hard on me because I have lost this and that. So why are you becoming hard on a Springbok coach? So you might have you can relate something because you need to relate to a certain agenda. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely. Well, Melusi, I've enjoyed every single moment. It's been really good to chat to you about rugby. It's been good to see how you've been developing as a coach. And I can see that the enthusiasm and the love for the game is there. And I think your players are going to benefit a lot from your experience. So it's been really good to chat to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It was so nice. It's always great to just chat a bit. We're always locked up here on the field and stuff. So it's always good to talk about other things also. Just other things outside rugby or in rugby, like we spoke about the lockdown and all those things. So thank you very much. I really appreciated your time, and thank you for having me.
That's good. You can tell that it's been a good conversation because I'm looking at the time now, and it's been 35 minutes of just talking, and it's gone feels like 5 minutes. So it's been good. Thank you.
Pleasure, man. Pleasure, man. And yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, my man.
Bye.
All the best, eh?
Cheers. Bye.